So the theme of this week has been getting it done with impact. So kind of relating it to my journey here, getting it done with impact for me, just getting out in social media, really more raw content. I was talking to a social media expert earlier this week, Austin Schindel, and he was telling me that, you know what, people just want to hear you speak. And hopefully that's true. You can comment below if you want to tell me to shut up, feel free. But this video, I'm going to talk about 3 different things. I want to do a little reading from my book. That's going to be a new campaign where I'm reading an excerpt from the book that I feel strongly about that I want to share with all of you. I want to talk about a pre-physical therapy student that I've been mentoring, and I want to talk about the mental elements of the end of a season. And with the playoffs, the World Series just ending with the Dodgers winning, me having a connection to one of the players, Ryan Scherf, with the Rays, I want to talk about sometimes what we can go through mentally after a season. So let's start by reading the excerpt from the book. We're about a minute in, so maybe the next video will start with this. So, Injured to Elite, you've seen the cover enough by now. And it's nice when it's not a front-facing camera and it's an actual DSLR. You could see should be going there in the right direction. All right, so foreword. The foreword was written by John Denny, my mentor, performance coach, and he inspired me a lot in this book, and that's why I wanted him to write it. So I kind of want to jump in the middle of it here, and I love what he says about the book. He says, "As you will learn in this book, Injured to Elite, a holistic approach to health and healing is of paramount importance. The fact is, we are not machines and cannot be repaired according to a manual. We are each a unique individual and have to be treated in a personalized way. You must believe in yourself as you know your body in unique circumstances best. When we take care of ourselves first mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, our recovery and performance increases on every level." So that's just part of the foreword written by John, and it means a lot hearing him speak about it because he's been here along the journey with me and mentoring me on it. And I'm sharing a lot of his principles with all of you, especially when it comes to the mind. So the next thing I want to talk about is a pre-physical therapy student. Hope he's okay with me shouting his name out, Daniel Paul. I just wrote a letter of recommendation for him, and as I was writing the letter, it kind of touched me, my own writing, not to sound egotistical, because it's certainly not coming from that angle, but a big thing for me working with students is when I was an undergrad student in Albany, I felt like I wasn't taken seriously. I felt like I wasn't given the time of day. And it was really uncomfortable. I still remember when I was in Albany and there was a clinic called Thomas Nicola Physical Therapy. Maybe I'll edit that out. Edited the name out. But anyway, I felt like I would walk into there. They call it the fishbowl. You could see all the patients through the glass, and that's where all the therapists do their notes and can see their patients. And all of them were sitting down, and I was sitting at the edge of the table there. Nobody would speak to me. Nobody asked me, "Hey, you want to learn something? You want to shadow me?" Nothing. I was just sitting there. And it felt so uncomfortable. And at that time, when I was 19-ish, whatever, I wasn't that confident with, really speaking from a professional standpoint. So I kind of just sat there and I just tried to take in what I could. So I vowed to myself I wasn't going to do that to future students. So that's why I always jump to writing letters of recommendations for strong physical therapy candidates or even medical students, pre-medical student candidates. This guy in particular, Daniel, is a special student. I worked with him when I was doing my residency at the hospital for special surgery, and he stood out to me because it seemed like he was really trying to find his way and find somebody that would take him under his wing, and I sensed his energy, and I did my best to really do that, even though I was in the residency and had a lot of expectations on me. And I really enjoyed it because he was head over heels kind of enjoying everything I was telling him, and we talked a lot about anatomy, and he took it to heart. And I look at his journey now. He told me he did great on this physics test he just took today. Coincidentally, I submitted his letter of recommendation, and I think of the journey over the last 6 years for him and myself. And when I think back to some of the students that I've been able to help, it touched me. And in the letter, I kind of write about, some of those elements of how it's so important to have people in our profession that really do care. He's one of them. And so just a good reflective point, stepping away from the usual exercise and even mental strategies and just talking about the process of getting into the career. The last thing to talk about is what it's like being a professional athlete or a collegiate athlete or even a high school athlete when the season ends. Talk a lot about Olympians that go through the Olympic blues. I forget what they call it in between the triads. Michael Phelps has been outspoken about that. And I can speak only from experience working in professional baseball and feeling, that low of October, November coming through and like fully shutting off. But really it wasn't a low because you're working so hard all year round. Finally, you get a chance to breathe. But as an athlete, it really does go 100 miles an hour to zero, and it could be tough. My man Ryan Sheriff just finished his journey for the year, the season in the World Series. If you listen to any of the podcasts with him, we have 2 episodes that we posted up. Talked a lot about the mental component for Ryan's game, the inner game, so to speak, internal game. He almost was on the verge of, really feeling like he wasn't making it anywhere this summer to being in the World Series with the Rays. Unbelievable story. Unbelievable story. And so now World Series is over. Mentally, physically even, what are the first things you do? I mean, a lot of times the nerves are just, at such so intense that when they shut off, at first it might feel kind of nice to not have to worry about it. But then, over the next month or so, it can kind of be a weird transition. I think that's where it's really important to have a strong team behind you. Having people, family and professionals that can kind of keep you on course and keep you, fulfilled in other areas of your life. Whether it's going out to a nice restaurant for a nice few dinners a week or, just going into nature and taking a nice walk with a friend or a significant other. Things like that make the transition easier. Look, you don't have to just be a famous athlete or a famous, performer all the time. You can also just be a human and enjoy this experience that we all partake in. So I think enjoying those elements of the human experience are huge. Mentally, I think this is where it's important to have strategies throughout the entire year, in season and off season, whether it's meditation and journaling, that stick with you. They shouldn't just start or stop in season, off season. But it is a tough journey, and a lot of those players are going through that right now. A lot of those players are figuring out, what just happened? What parts of their body do they have to fine tune? Already thinking about that for next year. So it's a lot. And we see it on the screen. We just see them performing. We think it's all rainbow, sunshine, and butterflies, but it's a lot of emotions. But I'm really proud of Ryan Sheriff for going on that crazy whirlwind of emotions and not giving up one run. So hats off to you, Ryan. All right, well, that was a reading of my book. That was just talking about an experience I had with an awesome PT student and what it's like transitioning out of season for a professional athlete. So I hope this was enjoyable for you. Please comment below. Give me some feedback here and let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.